Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Jason Mackey's First 10, a short version podcast talking all things Pittsburgh sports. Today is Wednesday, January 8th, and just witnessed the Pitt men's basketball team suffer kind of a difficult loss, something like that in Durham at Cameron Indoor Stadium. Going to talk about that. Also want to get into a Penguins defeat where they squandered yet another 2-goal lead. Not good. I'm going to talk about what that means and want to get into the Steelers and some talk about slow starts entering their postseason contest on Saturday against the Ravens and a few things I think they could maybe do differently. But first, want to remind you that this show is brought to you by Edgar Snyder and Associates. If you're injured in an accident, you're probably wondering what's next. For over 40 years, Edgar Snyder and Associates has helped injury victims answer that question. Whether it's gathering evidence, collecting medical records, or dealing with insurance companies, Edgar Snyder and Associates has helped over 75,000 people handle what's next. Call 1-800-94-EDGAR or visit edgarsnyder.com for a free consultation. And remember, there's never a fee unless they get money for you. All right, so I thought about how I would handle this with the Pitt men's basketball team getting trounced to the Duke Blue Devils, the fourth-ranked Duke Blue Devils in Durham. It was 76-47 was the final score. Obviously not close. It was a season low in field goal percentage, just 31% for Pitt, a season low for points. Not a good performance for Jeff Capel's group whatsoever. You can look at it a couple ways. One, there's certainly things to take out of this. The Panthers could do better. I'm not going to avoid that. Also need to give credit where it's due. Duke is really, really good. They're the tallest team in NCAA Division I. They have the best defense in NCAA Division I, or one of the best defenses, however you want to look at it, but they're darn good. Just 3 teams this season have scored 70 points against the Blue Devils, and the Panthers obviously got nowhere close. They did some things that were certainly frustrating, and Duke has the best player in college basketball in Cooper Flagg, who, played a sizable part. If you watched the game, you saw the back-to-back dunks he threw down in the second half. At that point, it was basically over. At one point later, Pitt was able to close to within 11. Brandon Cummings had back-to-back baskets. It looked like the Panthers might get something going, and, they didn't score again. It was pretty rough. And one of my biggest takeaways, I know this is somewhat obvious, but Pitt has been driven so much by its backcourt this season. Jalen Lowe, Ishmael Leggett, those guys were nowhere close to what they've done over the balance of this season. They made just 5 of 27 shots from the field. I know, Mr. Obvious here. They're not going to win many games when those guys are shooting and producing like that. Duke did a fantastic job defensively switching. They're able to just do so much because of their length, because of their athleticism. Very tough team to run an offense against. That being said, Pitt can do some things better. It left a lot of points on the floor early on with foul shots, with not finishing in transition, no second chance points. Really got out-rebounded by, I believe, 15. So it was a combination of playing a really good team and also Pitt sort of some self-inflicted wounds. On the positive side, I think you can look at it. Brandon Cummings has played well and given them something in spurts. Obviously, the past few games have been a lot better than this one. Cam Corhen also had somewhat of a productive game. Damian Dunn returned and then he was ejected, but did give them some secondary scoring. The Panthers are going to need it. They had a couple moments early on. I thought they defended pretty well, but they kind of lost their way, and eventually Duke just wore them down. But you lose to the 4th-ranked team in the country that could easily be the number 1-ranked team in the country. It's also January 11th. Or January 11th. It's January 8th. It's not January 11th yet. Don't change your calendars. But no, I mean, there's a lot of stuff. They got kind of a blueprint for stuff that they need to fix. There's a lot of it. We'll see if they do that. I didn't put Pitt to, play or beat Duke at this point. Didn't really expect that. Probably expected a little bit better of a performance, but I think a bigger test is going to be how the Panthers come out of this. All right, I want to talk about the Steelers and these slow starts that have plagued them really all season, and especially in the playoffs, and some suggestions, for what they can do better against the Ravens on Saturday. But first, a message from the Bradenton Area Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Embrace the laid-back charm of island life while sinking your toes in the sand and discovering real, authentic Florida in the Bradenton area. Unspoiled beauty and pristine beaches, a vibrant waterfront downtown energized by local arts and culture, fresh Floridian cuisine with a flourish of rich history, and friendly locals ready to welcome you to this preserved paradise on Florida's Gulf Coast. Plan your visit today. at BradentonGulfIslands.com.
Welcome back to First 10. We're here middle of the morning, Monday through Friday, talking all things Pittsburgh sports. Thanks so much for finding us. Let's talk a little Steelers now for topic number 2, slow starts. It's been really bad. The Steelers haven't scored a touchdown on their opening possession, get this, in 19 games, dating back to week 17 of last season. Mason Rudolph had a long touchdown pass to George Pickens. In the playoffs, it's been especially bad. They've been outscored 56-0 in the first quarter of their past 4 playoff games. If you're looking for a key to victory on Saturday against Baltimore, well, it's not hard. They have to score. They have to score early. I think that's how they're going to beat the Ravens, actually putting up a respectable amount of points. I'm not sure I see this one finishing 13-10, but it's just been really, really bad. It's been really, really bad during their 4-game losing streak. They've been outscored 40-3 in the first quarter of those games. Just ugly, ugly stuff. In 2017, remember Jacksonville, they were behind 21-0. In 2020, they were behind against the Browns 28-0, against the Bills 14-0. In 2021, in Kansas City, they didn't score in the first quarter, neither did the Chiefs, but they were down 21-7 en route to a 42-21 defeat. So they have to get it going. What can they do? I saw one suggestion in Joe Starkey's mailbag, and I am vehemently against this. This is just sort of a general thought. This isn't going to be one of my 3 thoughts, but to bench George Pickens. Give me a break. You're not going to bench George Pickens. That is so counterproductive. The Steelers need to score points. If you're going to bring down the discipline hammer on George, I don't even know for what. What are you going to bench him for not playing well against the Bengals? He didn't, but you're not going to bench him. If anything, I'd be feeding George Pickens the ball as much as I possibly could, and that's part of my 3rd key. But I'll go with this. For the first key to scoring more points early, how about an established running attack? How about using Jaylen Warren like an actual back? And I'm not talking about Najee Harris. I think it's pretty clear what his future is here. It's not very good. I would flip the switch at this point to Jaylen Warren and do it with authority. Give him the ball 25 times. If it doesn't work, whatever. But, that's not 25 times early. That's just 25 times in the game. A bigger thing is probably, this is my 3rd, we'll call it the 2nd point, is to trust Russ. You brought Russell Wilson in here for a reason. Against the Bengals, you scored your most points, most yards, and the most first downs in about a half dozen years. Why not do that again? Why not run it through the veteran quarterback that guys were theoretically so happy to get here? Give him the ball. Let him script the first 10, 15 plays, something like that. It's going to be better than it couldn't be worse than what the Steelers have done, but run the offense through Russ. A 3rd thing, how about some Justin Fields action? He talked to the media today, said he would be ready, of course, if his number was called. Doesn't really have any indication if he's going to play a big part or not, but I don't see why you wouldn't use Justin Fields at this point. The Steelers need all the help they can get. Use him as a quarterback. Use him as a wide receiver. Use him as a decoy. Use him as a running back. I don't care. Use him for anything. Don't keep doing the same stuff that you've been doing. It's infuriating and it's not working. All right, speaking of that, our last topic is the Penguins. They suffered a loss to the Columbus Blue Jackets. They did pick up a point, but I'm not sure anybody is feeling too good about that. They blew a 2-goal lead again, and the Penguins had, sort of found themselves, righted the ship a little bit, played some promising hockey, and, well, they blew a 2-goal lead in Carolina. They blew a 2-goal lead against Columbus. They're showing us what they are. And it's an inconsistent team. It's not one you can really bet against. They were also without Evgeny Malkin tonight. He's out day-to-day with an upper body injury. Not good, but Gino has also struggled, as I talked about on yesterday's podcast. Need to get some more goal scoring for him. All right, what else happened? Well, Rickard Rakell scored 2 goals, and that allows me to think a little bit more about Rakell's value to the Penguins. If they're not going to be going anywhere this season, I would like to see them trade Rakell. Not because I want to see Rakell get out of here. I certainly don't. He's been very good. He's up to 20 goals. He's been their best offensive player, maybe this side of Sidney Crosby, or their best finisher, including Sidney Crosby. He's been really good. Big reason why that top line has been good. But if the Penguins aren't going anywhere, it doesn't do them any good to keep Rakell. Okay, you might say, yeah, it does, because he's their only proven goal scorer. That's fine. But they need to use this opportunity to retool in some bigger ways. And I use that to transition to Tristan Jarry, who keeps allowing first shot goals. The Penguins in general, they allowed another first shot goal. It was the 8th time this season that has happened. Jarry has given up 6 in 19 starts. That's crazy. and he simply hasn't played well enough. Now, I don't know if you can go finagle a trade where you send Jarry somewhere. If you tack Ricard Raquel onto him, maybe you have to involve a third team. I don't know. Ryan Graves has been relegated to the press box again as a healthy scratch. Jarry hasn't been good enough. If you're going to look to clear up that money to recoup anything for 2025 or 2024, 2025, you're going to have to use a productive player to do it. And that's probably Ricard Raquel, which is the point. They're showing us who they are, and that's fine. And we kind of knew that all along, sort of reaffirming the belief. You just can't blow 2-goal leads that consistently. There's all sorts of stuff that goes into it. Lack of score and situation, not playing a more responsible brand of hockey, not having enough talent, not being conscientious enough, all kinds. The Penguins have checked pretty much every box. But at this point, we've seen enough. I think we can see where this is going, and it's going to be going to Kyle Dubas making some trades. Marcus Pettersson is a foregone conclusion. I doubt they can do anything with Carlson. Probably doubt they can do anything with Jarry independently, but Ricard Raquel is an interesting trade chip there because he does probably help you get some latitude to do something. We'll see what they do. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Make sure you like and subscribe. You can get all of this content and so much more from our Post-Gazette North Shore Drive podcast and YouTube channels. Going to take the day off tomorrow. I'll be back for Friday's episode. Maybe do some Q&A stuff. We'll see, or a walkthrough leading into it. But yeah, we'll be back on First 10. Thanks for checking us out, everybody.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.